Manchester, January 2022, and I tested myself at my first ever Hyrox competition. I asked my wife, Jenna, to film me, and as somebody with no interest in exercise herself, she said yes, but thought I was an idiot for even doing it. Then, a couple of months later, while on holiday, I pointed out that Pringles were not a good substitute for breakfast, and that she may look in shape, but actually had no real fitness at all. She switched to Doritos and said, "We'll see about that." And so started 9 months of training. She began as somebody that couldn't jog around the park without stopping, had never used a piece of gym equipment without a little diagram on it showing how it worked, and whose only past experience of competition was trying to outdrink her friends while retaining some memory of the night before. Her journey is ongoing, but last Saturday she felt ready to enter her first solo Hyrox back in Manchester. She asked me to film it. I said yes, but I'd also compete myself and show her how it's done. With hindsight, should have let her eat the Pringles. If you've never heard of Hyrox, doesn't matter, I'll explain as we go. All you need to know is that it's a great test of fitness, and on Saturday, Jenna ran in her first solo female event, age 33, so in the 30 to 34 category, open women. I ran in what would be my third solo male event, but important points: did it to raise money for a good cause, so I wore a weighted vest. At 49 was in the 45 to 49 age category, and in the top tier pro men's event using heavier weights. Do I mention all that to highlight the charity work that I do, that I have a much younger wife, or just to get my excuses in early? Yes, all of those. So here's how this works. Jen raced 2 hours before me, but we'll go through the event side by side so you can see us both in action together. And at this point, clock's not even started and I'm already winning mentally. Despite all the incredible hard work Jen has done to get here, she goes into the start pen nervous, feeling way outside her comfort zone. It's a running theme throughout her training, a lack of confidence in herself and what she can do. On the flip side, I go in around 50 pounds overweight compared to my best shape. Half of that is the weighted vest and the other half is just food. And with Jen's fitness so far behind mine, I felt able to back off my training last year. So I haven't worked out hard in months and not much at all since Christmas. And yet no lack of confidence at all, despite the vest, despite the pro category weights. I just assume I'll do fine. How hard can it be? And off we go. Right, Hyrox, every race, loads of them all over the world, is identical. Same format, same workouts every time. 1 kilometre run, which in Manchester was 3 laps of the arena, followed by an exercise station. Repeat 8 times. And with a timing chip on your ankle, everything gets recorded, which means we know I go into a nice lead against Jen straight away. Wearing the heavy pack slowed me down a lot. I normally run my first Hyrox kilometre in around 4 minutes, but I still finished the run 42 seconds up on Jen. And that takes us into the first exercise station, the 1 kilometre ski erg. And for Jenna, the realisation that this is going to be a tough race. Although this is her first solo Hyrox, she did run with me in the doubles at the end of last year. But on that occasion, I took responsibility for most of the work on a number of the exercises, including the ski erg. This is the first time she's had to do the 1K on her own. And the ski is a piece of kit that lends itself to people with longer arms. At 6'6", I'm able to go nice and steady, yet still finish it over a minute faster, meaning that I start the second run 1 minute 50 seconds ahead. I then pull ahead another 20 seconds on that run, giving me an even bigger lead. But both of us, we are doing that run nervous of what's coming up. Because although I go into the sled push 2 minutes 20 seconds ahead, this is a new experience for both of us. When we ran doubles, Jen did very little of the push, and during training has really struggled with this station given her 55 kilo body weight. She always knew it was going to be brutal, and it was. But she wasn't alone. My previous races have all been in the open category, but here I'm racing in the pro event, which means heavier weights than I'm used to. Now my expectation was that weighing more than double Jen, I would move the sled as easily as I have done in the past, but that just didn't happen. Whether it was my legs already tired from lugging the pack around, a lack of training, or just the pro weight sled, it felt like pushing against a brick wall. Although I beat Jenna by just under a minute and was actually second in my age group, it destroyed my legs. So Jenna now 3 minutes 20 behind, but the only one of us actually running as we start run 3.
Run out!
I can live
Run!
this next 6 months.
That's it, come on, run!
And so the first suggestion that things are not going to go all my way. Jen is 30 seconds faster on that kilometre and therefore goes into the next station 2 minutes 30 down. At which point I should point out, if you're keeping track of these numbers and wondering why they seem a bit off at times, the reason you can make up or lose ground against somebody else is not just the time spent on the running or the exercise stations. There is also what is referred to as the rock zone. That is simply the space between exiting the running track and getting into your next event, and the same going back out. In theory, it's an area that you run through and spend as little time in as possible. But when fatigued, it is easy to lose significant chunks of time here. That's something that happened to me at my first Hyrox. But improved fitness meant it hadn't happened to me again until here. The sled pull. In previous races, it's just been an opportunity for me to pick up some valuable seconds and a nice photo for the album. This race, my traps were on fire from the bouncing of the vest, and I was just starting to feel all over exhausted. Gen 2 though, not a fan of this one. Again, her low body weight not helping. That said, she beats me by 30 seconds and so hits the track just 1 minute 58 seconds down. And with possibly a bit more spring in her step than me.
That's how we drop it on the up on the line. One time lyrics.
Come on, you're doing really well, keep going!
So although I was 5 seconds quicker on the next run, I took my time getting to the track and then getting off of it into the next station afterwards, meaning we hit Burpee broad jumps just 1 minute 50 seconds apart. Nobody likes Burpee broad jumps. Nobody normal anyway. Whatever your build, whatever your size, there is a reason to hate these. If you're short or light, you can't jump very far with much power. If you're big and heavy, it's hard work to get your body weight up and down off of the floor. I don't know if a human shape exists that is perfectly suited to this. If it does, I'd be surprised if it's a particularly attractive one. Although it is also an interesting one, especially for the people really struggling, because, and I mean this literally, you get the opportunity to lie on the floor quite regularly. So I didn't find this particularly exerting, rather just laborious. Clambering up and down with the pack on, still seeing so far to go, it just dragged. And every time my chest hit the deck, I just wanted to go to sleep. Meanwhile, Jenna just cranking them out, and yet another opportunity to get the better of me. She beat me by a staggering and embarrassing 2 minutes 20, meaning she moves into the lead overall, starting the next run 37 seconds up on me. And it gets worse. Her run is 10 seconds faster again. And to give you some context here, Jen is running at a slow park run pace for her. If she went and did a 5K and was going to just go and get it done sort of speed, it's that. Normally for me, that's also what I'm doing at this point. I mentioned that I start off running around 4-minute kilometers. That's a quick park run pace for me. But by this halfway stage, I'm normally down to around 5-minute kilometers or a 25-minute park run. For me, it's a gentle jog. But I'm actually running around about a 32-minute park run pace here. It's a pace I know because I did plenty of park runs at that pace and slower in the past. But it's been a while since I did those or felt this bad. But things are about to change. Jenna goes into the row, 53 seconds up, but now she's in trouble because I know my way around a rowing machine. At least I do normally. Jenna has only one objective here: hold her pace under 2.5 minute splits. That's a 500-meter split, meaning she does the 1K sub 5 minutes. Allowing for 15 seconds to get on and off the machine, she wants a row zone time here under 5.5 minutes. And normally that would mean I'd pick up about 90 seconds on her. I've never rowed a Hyrox row zone over 4 minutes. In the gym, I'm close to 3 minutes for a 1K row. Unlike much of what happens at Hyrox, it's the one event I'm actually built for. Even the vest shouldn't matter too much because I'm sat down. But I am toast at this point. So I make the tactical decision to go easy-ish and accept a time around 4 minutes 30 overall, but hopefully get off it feeling better. At this stage, I know from the time of my watch that Jen and I are pretty much neck and neck. And that is the case. I make up 60 seconds on the row, and so we go into the run with me just 2 seconds up, but feeling refreshed after the easy row. Unfortunately, no one told my legs they were refreshed, and so my terrible run times continue, with the 6th run being a few seconds slower than Jen's equivalent. It meant I staggered through the rock zone and went into the farmer's carry 20 seconds behind Jenna overall. Now, when we ran doubles, that event used the men's open weight, 2 lots of 24 kilo kettlebells. That's pretty much Jen's body weight. So I carried them on my own. This is her first time doing farmer's carry in competition, but at least using the women's open weight of 16 kilos, which means she is able to stick to the one piece of advice I gave her: never put them down.
No!
Unfortunately for me, it appears I never got that advice. I did not want to, but had to put the men's pro weight 32 kilo kettlebells down momentarily. My head was telling me don't, but my traps, already just exploding with pain from the weighted vest, could just not bear it any longer. Now, despite the small break, I actually beat Jen by 16 seconds on this, but because I was slower in the rock zone getting back to the track, it meant we started the penultimate run with Jen still 10 seconds up. We then ran that lap in identical times, so went into the toughest of all the exercise stations with very little between us. We didn't finish this station quite so close together. Jenna absolutely destroyed me on this one, beating me by over a minute and a half. While she steadily plodded through her reps, I was just unsure how I was standing up. The pro weight lunge bag, the vest, my body weight, once all that went down to the ground, none of it wanted to come back up again. And even when it did, the pain in my shoulders was excruciating. At this point, I was genuinely concerned I was either going to fall over or drop the bag, or both. While you're watching that fun take place, just a quick note to mention that you may have spotted that our videos have no sponsors or paid promotions or us trying to sell you something, and that is entirely made possible by the support of our amazing members over on Patreon, who get some exclusive content in return, including full episodes of our podcast. If that sounds cool, check out the link in the description below to come join them. Otherwise, simply giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel is an amazing no-cost option way to support what we're doing here. And talking of support, I had a realization during these lunges. And now I've often seen on Instagram or the Facebook groups people that take a little longer than average to do a Hyrox speaking highly of the motivational assistance that they get from the marshals and the judges on duty. I've read those comments, but I've never really understood them because I've never required that sort of help myself. I normally rattle through these events in a world of my own, ignoring any outside influence other than Jen yelling at me to go faster. But here, I finally understood what they were on about. I'm not entirely sure what the marshals were saying, but I was aware they were directing words towards me and that the gist was probably something like, "Don't pass out." And that was enough, just about enough, for me to keep going. It was slow and brutal, and afterwards I had to take a moment to compose myself, but somehow I got it done, and it was partly thanks to them. Starting that last run, I wasn't quite aware how bad I was doing against Jen, 2 minutes 50 down as it happens, but I knew I was behind and that my legs were unlikely to help me make up much time on the last kilometre. I was running as fast as I could, but that translated to a run 20 seconds slower than Jen. And so as we began the final exercise, she's 3 minutes 10 seconds ahead.
Good, get it done, babes, go.
Wall balls. As I went into the zone, I had a thought that lasted maybe 2 or 3 seconds that I could just rattle through these and catch Jen no matter how far ahead she was. Then I realised I couldn't pick up the ball. I immediately asked them for the optional box to make sure that I was squatting deep enough. My knees were just so wrecked at this point that if the box wasn't there, I'm not sure I would have got back up after the first rep. Although Jen not having a fun time of it either, we both have very different problems in this event. For Jenna, it's the physical exertion of having to launch, for her, quite a heavy ball to a quite high target. You can see at the top of every rep, she's up on her tiptoes, throwing that thing. For me, the ball weight is not that bad and the target not that high. My issue is simply moving myself and the vest and the ball from a squat to the stand 100 times in a row. Jen also wants a very different type of encouragement to me. In fact, she wants very little encouragement from me and gets quite annoyed if I'm screaming and shouting too much. So I have to simply film her and watch her suffer.
One more, babe. Go, go, go.
On the plus side, she wraps them up 1.5 minutes faster than me, so I'm not watching for quite as long as she had to. Mine were quite something else. I broke the 100 down into 10 lots of 10 and pretty soon was having to visit the little fan club that had turned up to cheer me on in between each round of 10 just to get my short motivational fix, allowing me to get back to it. Without that, I'm not sure I'd have got them done at all.
Come on!
10 left.
Easy! Come on, princess, let's go! Easy!
Come on, Mark.
Come on!
That's easy.
The cheeky 10 to go! 10 more!
Come on.
10!
Here we go.
10! 10!
9. 8. Oh.
6, come on! Come on!
I'm not sure.
Come on! Come on, come on, come on!
Good job.
Run! Come on, run! Run!
Yeah, run, you pussy.
And I too am done. 4 minutes, 45 seconds behind my Pringle-loving wife. So what did we learn? Well, that somebody with no exercise or sporting background can start working out and within months perform at a level they should be incredibly proud of, with much more to come yet. Also that somebody already fit and healthy and doing quite well can easily see that reverse if they take their eye off the ball. And lastly, and perhaps most interestingly for me, I learned that those people running an event like this and coming a long, long way behind the people that win it, in fact, any event that requires a lot of effort, whether it's a park run or a marathon or just training in the gym, those people are putting in an insane amount of work. There are people at Hyrox taking 20, 30, 40 minutes or longer than I did. And when I hear that, I don't hear they were slower than me or behind me. I hear they were working longer than me, suffering more than me. An amazing achievement. So to wrap up, check the link in the description for the Alzheimer's charity that I was running for. And unless you're watching this a long, long way past January 2023, there is still time to go and add to what we've raised if you're able to. And again, if you're interested in our Patreon membership, that link is down there too. This week's video over there includes a full breakdown of both our Hyrox events with a bit of running commentary from Jen thrown in. Lastly, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're wondering whether Jen is enjoying the fact that she currently has the fastest 2023 Hyrox time in our house, yes, she is. She won't shut up about it. So do I really wish that I let her carry on with the Pringles instead? Of course not. Because from now on, after that performance, after she showed me what she is capable of digging down and achieving when she puts her mind to it, she is now bringing the shopping in from the car every time.